hooting and hollering outside, so I wasn't sure if it was the best time to start this recording. The picture on the front, that's from March 3rd of 2019. It's the emails of a whole bunch of people that I was going to for help. People who offered to help, said they would help how I needed. But then always, when it was time to actually do that friend shit, when it was time to do that family shit, they showed they wasn't friends, they showed they wasn't family. There's the things that these people did, and then there's the things that the cops said and got away with because these people never came forward. My predators got away because these people never came forward. And then these people want to play victim when the things that they never came forward about are posted on the internet in their own voices, in their own messages. Oh, you sure know how Natalie felt. You're doing the same thing that Natalie did. You do something messed up. You don't care about the consequences for others, and you want to play for sympathy after doing such a thing. You want to try to make me feel bad because you lied to me. You want to try to make me feel bad because you lied to me. To me. Did you tell anybody else the things that you were telling me? Huh? Why are you blowing smoke up my backside? Why are you lying at me and lying on me? Why are you thinking that's okay? It's not. To give somebody false hope? Now, Siggy was involved in more than one situation over the last couple of weeks, and he's all the way in Germany. That means some German cares more about me than even one of my friends or family. You know how pathetic that is. A complete stranger. There are certain things that you don't say about a person unless they happen. And if they didn't happen, you don't accuse people of those things. I don't know who it out there's who. But they've done it 5 or 6 times now. I got my stuff inside of the Denny's. It's long enough for me to come out and have a cigarette. I got nowhere to go. My friends and family showed that they didn't care right from the very start. When they weren't willing to even try looking at evidence or helping me to turn it in. Everything else was a waste of time without those 2 things. If you don't come forward after going to a doctor's appointment with me, they pretend it didn't happen and refuse to take a look, and only your words matter. Only yours as a witness. Because they can shut me up by calling me mentally ill. And then magically nobody is going to listen to me. Doesn't matter how honest I am. You're just going to let them. Meanwhile, everybody's got 10,000 ideas with the exception of trying what you're supposed to. Preventative measures would have stopped any of this before it got started. Following the laws, the mandated reporter laws, would have stopped this a long time ago. Problem is, every single one of these mandated reporters is busy riding the clock for your taxpayer dollars. They don't care about you. They care about the money. Times are tough right now. If they got to commit felonies, so be it. And I get that not mandated reporting is only a misdemeanor. I get that. But then we got the habitual nature of it. The fact that these people did the same thing repeatedly and played stupid. I've got recording after recording of them playing stupid. They're not as liberal with those actions when they're afraid of consequences, but they're not afraid of consequences when they victimize a homeless person any more than you are. You know damn well if you catch a homeless person in an alley and you want to take all your BS out on him, if anyone gets arrested, it's going to be him. You already know that. You already know that if you pick a white homeless person to beat up, that it's magically not a hate crime. It's only a hate crime if you do it to a black person or a Native American or a homosexual or a woman or a child molester. That's right. Sex offenders are on that list too. If you defend yourself against a sex offender, you can go to prison for a very long time. But if you walk into a courtroom and blow his head off in front of God and everybody, they might let you walk. That's right, folks. No judge, no jury, just an executioner. That man in Texas walked into a courtroom and blew that man's head off. How much time did he serve? They dropped all charges on the man. But if he'd have just beaten the man up, he'd have gone to prison for a long time for beating up a child molester, wouldn't he? No. Not necessarily. It don't come down to what the law says. It comes down to what the judge and any officials that have jobs dependent on who's voting which direction this year. It ain't got nothing to do with the law. It has to make you happy during election year, and as long as it does that, it doesn't matter the legality of it to any of these people. Now, the most important part is speaking up. I did send a link to Siggy to see if he would hopefully join this conversation. Possibly even give some insight. He actually looked up some of the laws in Germany. Instead of just spouting stuff at me, he looked it up. Have I looked it up to verify that he's telling the truth? No, I haven't. I don't mind doing that next. Anyway, there's stuff I need to do on my computer. It's warm in the den, so I'm going back inside. I'm going to finish my coffee and hope Siggy gets on board. If he doesn't, I'm too lazy to hate him for it. I've been out here long enough, it might have cleared off my table already. I do tip good, though. I was taught if you ain't got $5 to tip, you're too broke to go out to eat. Well, it wasn't about going out to eat tonight. It was about getting out of my vehicle and getting somewhere warm. It was about getting adequate internet. That way, hopefully, if Siggy is able to get connected, we don't have the connection issues we had before. I really shouldn't have spent that money at Denny's tonight. And I realize $5 ain't a big tip, but it's a pretty big tip when you're eating the cheapest stuff on the menu or literally just drinking coffee. I'm in so much pain. I sent the evidence with Natalie to literally hundreds of people. Well, over 100 of them anyway. Show them how it started, and if they look and share, and I'll send them more. But nobody shared. Oh, yeah. So they got a TV right above one of the tables. And we got these kittens on it. And it's just absolutely adorable. Thanks, man. Oh, wow. The little container fish. There's a lady over there. I was looking at the TV and I realized I was being stared at. So I'm not going to look at the cute little kittens. I have YouTube that I can look at it on. I don't want anybody getting the heebie-jeebies. Yes, I'm bald and I have a big beard. Ooh, or I'm a big scary day. Of course, I don't have any teeth. None on the bottom, none on the top. So I got lots of growl, but not much bite. Although under a situation where it's absolutely necessary, it's a different story. When the Boulder Police Department in Wayland Lowitide who assaulted me, decided to pretend like I tried to bite them, decided to lie in court and lie to the public, try to frame me for a crime I didn't commit. And what did my friends do? They looked the other way. I'm not the right color or the right gender for them to care. So, of course, I'm cleaning house. I'm getting rid of anybody who is not an actual friend. If you're not speaking out, which is grand total of nobody, no, you're not a friend. You don't have any business there. You need to leave. Your complacency and fake friendship cost actual human lives. Your willingness to look away, to be selfish and self-centered and only think about yourself resulted in bodies of people I love. No, you're not forgiven. And no, I won't forget. When my loved ones disappear, come hell or high water, I ain't gonna stop searching. When my little sister disappeared, that was 3 weeks of hell for me. When Brittany Richmond disappeared, that scared me too. When Sarah Rubiolo disappeared, that scared me too. Sarah Rubiolo was one of those underage kids that wanted to going out with drug dealers. That's how I knew it. A lot of them young women wanted to show up. They either wanted the drugs or the attention. They weren't getting the right kind of attention at home. You figured if they go out to the streets, at least they're having acceptable partners. Your dad ain't exactly the person that you want to be having them kind of relations with. So you run away. You go hang out on the streets, hang out there after school. Say you're over at Becky's house, right? No, you're down slumming it up. There's some homeless folks that are older than you. Some of them much older than you. Some of them close to your age. Those are the ones that are fresh out of the system, most of them. Mostly boys. They grew up in foster care group homes, places like that. There's these services, right? Supposed to help us when we turn 18. So when we get thrown out on our butts, we're not completely alone and defenseless. In a world that hates everybody who's homeless, and you literally are homeless because you turned 18. But these services don't exist. Sure, they exist on paper. And of course, if you're a female, they sort of exist for you. There are people that if you're a female, will take you under their wing. And you're a male, that's a tough shit. You're on your own. You wanted it, needed it, chose it, deserved it. As many of y'all know, I support a couple of movements that I certainly don't agree with. When it comes to MMIW, no, I don't agree with the narrative, but I understand why it's there. Yes, it's a racist narrative, and yes, it's wrong, but there's a purpose for it. It's also a very sexist narrative. It used to be MMIP, Missing and Murdered Indigenous People. But nobody listened, nobody cared. We were preconditioned, taught, and trained that we're supposed to care if you say the word woman. If these bad things are happening to people, what concern is it of yours? But if these bad things are happening to women, it is your job and your duty to rise up and do something about it. Is it not? Is that how we are all trained? Yes, it absolutely is. That's what our society teaches us. We absolutely do need to protect female predators, and we don't. No, we don't. We don't owe it to a predator to help them get away with it just because of their gender. We don't owe them squat. You got to see with Natalie Bollinger how she made excuses for her predators. And people are constantly telling me, hey, Sean, you're always making excuses for these people. These are not your friends. If they were your friends, they would have spoken up loud and proud. If they were your friends, they would have taken a look. If they were your friends, they would have spoken up where it mattered. If they were your friends, they would do it as on your paperwork saying that you're supposed to do. They would be helping you with the things that you need help with. If these were your friends, instead of talking over you, telling you all of their problems, promise they'll help you. They'll help you, and at the last minute they don't come through. Oh yeah, these aren't your friends. These aren't your friends. And each of these people who are saying these things, people like Sarah Bacon, each and every one of them, in their own turn, did the same thing, didn't they? You tell me it's okay for a man to have emotions, but then you down on me for having emotions. Or you assign me emotions that I don't have, and you want to judge me for that. Then you want to do these things to my friends and my family. And you want me to be fine with that. You want me to just shut up, go to the back of the bus and pretend it's not happening. To pretend like people threatening to kill my family is not something that is going to affect me. It's just insane. Did Maddie Bowen not think about that before she started spreading those rumors? Did Tim Beeson not consider that before spreading those rumors? When Tim Beeson decided he was going to threaten my family and my friends, that's when the gloves really came off. That's when I really absolutely had evidence of Natalie Bollinger direct involvement in this situation. Before that, it was just rumors from Maddie Bowen and her meth buddies. They were specific about it. At least they told me where it came from. Who said that? Oh yeah, Maddie Bowen said that. And two girls in Virginia is pretty specific as well, wouldn't you think? But two girls does Maddie Bowen know in Virginia at that point? Actually, it was two women. Natalie Bollinger and her twin sister Alicia Bollinger. And as we all know, Natalie ended up getting her brains blown out. Didn't she? You guys wouldn't give me bad advice. Let it go. Move on. Move somewhere else. Why don't you just get away from those people? I got away from those people. I did. I got away from Natalie Bollinger and her BS and her drug-induced drama in Virginia. I drove 1,700 miles to get away from her and her druggy family. I went to Boulder. I was abused there over things that didn't even happen. So I moved. I went to Chapel, Nebraska. You have no idea. That is seventh ring of hell shit there. And I make references to comic books. I understand that I don't live in a comic book. One of the things about people like Stan Lee is that there's a moral to the story. There's a point. Like you guys wanting to hide. That's cowardly. I'll take a bullet in the forehead with my face showing, thank you very much. I don't need to hide behind a mask. Real heroes don't have to hide their faces. You want to believe that people stand up because they want attention. Most of us would prefer to remain in anonymity. Sharing our stories isn't something that feels good. It's not something that we want to go through or relive, but we don't have the choice. I left Virginia and went to Boulder. Boulder was my home. But I had to leave my home because of lies about that. It didn't happen in Virginia. It didn't even happen.
Now, of course, later on, I did threaten to kill one person in Natalie's family. That was after she was already dead. That was her father, and as you guys know, he did some pretty horrible things. Things you don't do to another human being, especially not a child, and especially not your own. There's a lot of stuff that Siggy can verify because he was part of the situation from all the way in Germany. He actually watched these things happen. Some of these things, anyway. Got to see some of these events unfold recently. These are all dominoes from the same situations. The idea that homeless people are not human beings and therefore it's alright to take everything out on them. Anything anybody ever did wrong to you, you're gonna take it out on a homeless person. And by God, they better be there for you to abuse. Because if you don't have a homeless person to abuse, you might go home and abuse your wife. You might go home and abuse your husband, or your son, or your daughter, your mother, your father. You might also pick up a high-powered rifle, walk into a King Soopers in Boulder, Colorado, and start blowing people's heads off. You might walk into a break room in Walmart in Chesapeake, Virginia, pull out a gun and start blowing people's heads off. By the way, not that anybody's ever going to bother to look this up, but I knew Natalie Bollinger from Boulder, Colorado. I lived on Table Mesa, and I went to that King Soopers almost every day. I even slept in their parking lot a few nights. Chesapeake, Virginia, that Walmart there. Yeah, I stayed there. I slept the night there. That's where I was staying the night. 2 Walmarts there. One of them I was at the first week or so that I was there until Alicia Bollinger decided I should be closer to them so they could visit me more. The first half of my visit, I was at the Walmart on South Military Highway. Or no, I was at the Walmart on Military Highway. Natalie's mom actually lived on South Military Highway, which is quite a few miles away. The other Walmart was over by the Chesapeake Mall. And, well, that one was where, that was actually the parking lot that I was staying in when Hurricane Matthew rolled through. When Hurricane Matthew rolled through, Natalie and Alicia had gotten into a car accident during Hurricane Matthew, which Natalie was so accident prone when it come to vehicles. Oh my God. Although one of them accidents wasn't exactly an accident. Her family was driving her nuts. There was her being on no matter what the problem was, it was always because of her addiction. That must be it. It's all her fault because addict. Meanwhile, this is a whole family of addicts who are still using. A lot of the stuff that Siggy can verify. I've sent him the copies of my paperwork. I sent him the messages between me and Natalie, and if I can get my computer running tomorrow, I'd like to send him a lot more. There's a lot of stuff he hasn't been able to go through and see yet. He said he would devote an hour a day to helping me. He spent a lot more than that. He spent a lot more than that already, but we haven't gotten anything accomplished. Got nothing turned in. He's got nothing shared. I'm now in a real tough spot, as always. No matter where I move, it's one messed up situation after another, and in a lot of those situations, I literally had to break the law because there were children's lives at stake, and you have no idea. You have no idea how difficult it is to call the cops on a friend of 20 years or more because they're beating on their own kids or they're beating on somebody else's kids. You got no idea how much it takes to psych yourself up to literally go break the law to try to force the cops to love you. And then, of course, those kids, like when Brandy Ingersoll in that situation in Rawlins, Wyoming, and by the way, she was dead too. She was beating on Amy Kalina Kingery's kids. I tried being reasonable. I tried talking to her like a human being, but just the alcohol. She just couldn't hear me through the alcohol. She just couldn't stop drinking. Couldn't stop feeling sorry for herself. Power pounding that crap. And feeling sorry for herself some more and taking it out on two girls that weren't her kids.
You want to warm up on your coffee?
And she wasn't spanking
Okay.
them.
You want some more coffee?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Starting to calm me down and put me to sleep.
Yeah, that's good.
The stuff that you got to see was, of course, the paperwork that I have that, as always, what does it say? It says what I've been telling these people who called me a friend, who called me family, who said that they would help me. It says do literally the things that I was telling them I need them to do. The process by which this actually is supposed to work. And it wasn't me refusing to do it. It was them. Any excuse is good enough. Any excuse to look the other way, especially after people are dead. They didn't care about Natalie. Most of them didn't know her. What they cared about was their sins not coming out, them not having to fess up to any of their skeletons. Nobody cares about your skeletons, stupid. Kayla Trujillo, nobody cares that you sell drugs. Ted Bollinger sells drugs, they listen to him. Danica Garner sold drugs, they listen to her. Rochelle Shelley Campbell sold drugs, they listen to her. These are all junkies. You guys want to say, oh, they won't listen to me, I'm a junkie. You know what? You can go ahead and tell me that, but the fact is, so is Natalie, so is Alicia, so is Maddie Bowe. You know these girls. You know they're junkies. Those of you who know them, and all of you who know me know I don't mess around with them drugs. So what are you thinking? Oh yeah, you're being sexist. You're telling yourself that men can't be victims. Let me tell you something about your advice that I move. Every time there's a problem, you want me to move. Well, there's going to be problems no matter where I go. I guarantee. Another place where I can stop and actually make a stand. That's what I'm looking for. A place where I'm allowed to love and be loved. And I don't mean like a sick, nasty pervert like Ted Bond. You don't do those things, not to anyone's kids, especially not your own. People keep telling me what I should do. All these folks who were going to help me to turn this in and made excuses for years wanted to tell me about people threatening their families over this. I said, hey, you need to come forward. Oh, nobody's going to listen. Nobody's going to listen. That's right, they won't, because you never try. So why'd you waste my time? You thought you had the cojones to do so? You thought you had enough machismo? We're talking about people who don't have any problems with killing kids. Who don't have any problems with literally cutting their arms and legs off on video and sending it to families. See, well, Ted Bollinger was only ever a middleman or a small-time peddler. And he owed too much. Thing is, his drugs came from somewhere. The drugs that he fed Danica Garner, the drugs that he fed Rochelle Shelley Campbell, drugs that he fed Rose M. Kelly, aka Rose M. Self, the drugs that he fed Natalie Bollinger and Alicia Bollinger, and the drugs they distributed among the homeless population and the college population in Boulder, Colorado. All through his business front. A family-owned barber shop on the hill in Boulder, Colorado. You don't get to distribute quantities like that without, of course, I want to say is the conspiracy, but yeah, the majority of those harsh drugs are coming from cartels. They're coming from south of the border. You guys haven't been paying attention to the stuff going on at the border. A lot of people want to push the let's hate Trump over the border wall. Well, that's because it's a stupid idea. It doesn't work. We have a wall there already. Even where the wall is already there, it doesn't work. So it's not doing any good. Now, of course, I'm too small time, and Ted is too small time, really, for people to consider doing that. But Ted knows who he's messing with. Ted knows that that could just as easily be his daughter being cut up in front of him, or having her brains blown out in front of him to prove a point. And there's a lot of people who, right at the very beginning, that was their conspiracy theory too. It's in the realm of possibility. But I'd want to see the evidence of it. Maybe Lopez has wiener cancer or something, and he's only got 5 years to live. Who knows? It could be some crazy conspiracy theory like that. But once you guys start trying to get me to entertain theories of magical unicorns and Illuminati and the FBI out to take over, dude, I'm a hobo. They don't care. It's not some alien conspiracy. It's I'm a hobo. I don't matter. Not to the American public, not to minority groups, not to you. But I also recognize that a lot of y'all don't like hearing this. It's the brown folks taking care of me. Straight up, everywhere I go, the brown folks is taking care of me. Brown folk. Brown folk. Native Americans. Help me out more than anybody else. If I'm busted down on the side of the road here in Oregon, who comes and helps me out? Nearly always brown people, and half the time they barely speak English. And I am grateful and I am thankful that they are there. Because an American born and bred gonna drive right on by. That's you, a pretty blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl. Then you got 6 cars lined up behind you because you got out to check the air in your tire.
Yeah.
And y'all who've been watching my videos and paying attention, you paid attention in Hood River, what happened in Hood River. I stuck up for the people there that nobody cared about. I got victimized by the police. I got victimized by the drug addicts. I got victimized by the drug salesman. I also spoke up when nobody else would. There's a video on my YouTube channel called Danny's Koi Fish. I recommend watching it. That's Daniel in Hood River. He put his foot through somebody's window because he's having an episode. If I hadn't called the cops on him, he'd have bled to death. There was over 1,000 footsteps that we traced and followed and videoed. They looked like somebody took some paint and painted some Japanese koi fish on a Japanese painting from the top. In reality, it's his footprint while he was trying to bleed to death and putting his foot through the window. The police intentionally created a safety issue for Daniel, and he was assaulted on multiple occasions. There's also the situation with a couple other people there who threatened to kill me and assault me and pretended like they were trying to make it up to me by giving me a soda pop. That was interesting. Between that, the rampant violence, the seriousness of people not able to keep their word, the fact that everybody was strung out. You know, Boulder, Colorado, we had a lot of sober homeless people who worked hard, not just for ourselves, but for the community. Here, it's hard to find a homeless person who's sober. And the ones who are sober, they've gotten desperate about being alone. And many of them have picked up somebody who's a better candidate for being babysat than dating. But they're lonely. And at this stage in their life, they'll accept an alcoholic. And that's sad. Why are so many women out here with predatory men who beat them once a month or once every couple of months? Because it's better than the alternative. It's better than repeated beatings by a whole bunch of different people. People with ulterior motives, people wanting to offer you stuff, say just trying to be friendly. They ain't friendly. Ted Bollinger wasn't so friendly once the honeymoon period was over. Once he'd bought Danica's affection with those drugs. Once he'd bought Shelley's affection with those drugs. Or Rose's affection with those drugs. Well, then that's when the beatings commenced. Sure, he rescued them from homelessness. And into what? Yeah, these women are definitely petrified of him. More scared of him than they are of me. And why is that? Ted Bollinger is not mentally stable. When I was forced to make an illegal firearm, I didn't start off by doing as I was told by the man who wanted to blackmail me. Not even close. I started off by getting a hold of people and letting them know. Would you help me turn this in? No? All right, well, now the guy is teaching me how to use my Direct Express card to order parts for illegal firearms, including 3 80% kits off of the internet. And then still, I let people know, and no one did a thing. Then I was forced to manufacture the thing while still trying to get help. Megan Misgatis, Dallas Richmond. No, they didn't care. They wanted to give me bad advice instead of doing what they should have done. Meg as an advocate, and Dallas as a friend, and Nebraska, who is a mandated reporter. And the gun was made. It actually exists now. I'm hoping it's where I put it last, but I'm not for certain. When I was taken to prison on false charges, that's one of the things I was trying to turn in. So I got to the hotel room, had everything set up to get all the evidence sent to where it needed to go about Scott Costa and Leslie Snell and William Barr. Got it all set up so that I could actually work on that with Megan Mistigatis, who wanted to tell me she had some sort of a green tea. Really? We'll see about that. Oh, we've got another one of these YouTube stalkers on here. We know what to do, don't we? Something we can't do in real life. I'll give it a second. And that thing in real life is to block them. Remove them from my chat. Actually, you know what? We'll let them type a little bit. Get some more stuff on here. Get some more of these profiles. Show that there's a pattern going. And that it is in fact the same fellas. I have Tourette syndrome. I get nervous. I do this. I do this with my wrist, which hurts now. When it comes to saving lives, it's a choice. Blam, I'd user on this channel. And lo and behold, Mr. Richard is no longer on this channel. That's what the second or third account that he's made today. People have been doing this since before Natalie was killed. I'm glad they found Joseph Michael Lopez. I'm glad he's in prison. To some degree, I can entertain some of your zaniness, some of your nuttiness, and some of your conspiracy theories. Some of them do hold water. One of the things that a lot of people keep throwing in my face, like the ones who want to say I'm a coward for leaving Nebraska, instead of killing the people who threatened my sister, wanting to tell me if I was a real man, I would have gone and killed those people. Well, I'd already stated very loud and clear on many occasions I'm not willing to kill people. Now, one of the conspiracy theories with Natalie that does roll over is the idea that Joseph Michael Lopez picked a target of opportunity. We already know that he helped and harbored some pretty sick fantasies. We also know that Natalie Bollinger was a ready-made victim who had already pointed out somebody that could be blamed for it, so he might get away with it. And when I try to tell on my predators, they got a bad habit of playing victim. Because I'm a male, I don't get to face them in court. They automatically win. The problem with that is that by not allowing me to show the truth, show the evidence, and show what's been happening, that puts those people at risk. Imagine if Leslie Snell has an argument with her husband Clint. Clint decides to take an unregistered firearm and blow her head off. Maybe it's just a little too much drinking. Maybe she decides she don't want to hear any more of his redneck stuff. You never know. But if I'm in Chapel, Nebraska, that becomes a far more viable option for somebody who's having a bad time. Unregistered firearm. Maybe you think you can just throw it away. If I'm there, what's going to happen? What's going to happen with my sister who's living in that area? She's now literally living in Chapel, Nebraska. Because that's the only low income she could get into. And thank goodness she was able to get into low income, but not there. Oh my God. That is horrible. When people say that I'm a coward because I choose not to go and kill those people, you keep in mind there are people like Ted Bollinger, and they are far worse than Leslie Snell is ever capable of being. I'm not scared of Leslie Snell going over and killing my sister. I am afraid of Ted Bollinger doing such a thing. Yeah, I know how to kill people. Learning where the parts are inside of the body. Where are the major blood vessels going through? Under the armpit and the groin. Those are two good areas. Through the throat.
Yeah.
But here's the point. There are so many people who said that they would help me. And their solutions are all violent. They want to talk about shooting people. They want to talk about killing people. They want to talk about beating people up. Why don't we try the legal process? Can we stop and actually try the legal process? Can we actually try turning in these predators the way it's supposed to be done? I'm supposed to go in with an advocate when I have to turn in these crimes. That's what I'm supposed to do. An advocate or a guardian, and I have neither. Between listening to Sarah Bacon tell me about how she'd kill people and going in with an advocate, I would have much rather had a sober advocate than a drunk Sarah Bacon.
No, those were like, I had them sit right there.
Yeah, no, I put them there. I put
Oh,
these away.
okay. Thank
Which one do you think would have served a better purpose? How about Mandy Hughes? How about Alyssa Rain Motter? None of these people advocated for me. None of them. And then there's web sleuth nut jobs like Kara Johnson Miles. You wouldn't tell me I shouldn't care what other people think. Tell me I shouldn't care what other people say about me. It doesn't matter. No, it does. It does. Those aren't just rumors. There are people who are dead over those rumors. So yeah, maybe you should pay attention to the power of your voice. When you say and do wrong things, to try to protect yourself from what other people might think. I get it. I get that Natalie Bollinger wanted her family of drug addicts, child molesters, and rapists to actually love her right. You know, I would have, even to this day, I would absolutely love for my family to love me right. I'm not going to expect it. I'm not going to ask for it. I'm not going to pursue it. And if they try to throw it in my face that that's the way they're trying to be, I'm going to be smart enough to know that, well, I'm 42 years of age. They've had their chance. They've had plenty of chances. I had lots of my friends tell me that they wouldn't help me unless I gave my mom another chance. Every time it's the same thing. takes me for all I'm worth,
Thank you.
craps herself, says that I made her poop her pants because of her crumbs. How do you argue with an adult who acts like a child? Or a woman who is willing to literally poop her pants because she's not smart enough to win an argument? You can't. When it comes to helping people out, it comes down to what are you willing to do? When your friend calls you up and says that they need help and that they want their life to end, they're not asking you to come shoot them in the head. They're trying to get help from you and to express to you how urgent it is, because obviously them trying to tell you, not hinting, but outright telling you what's going on, and you're not allowing them to do so. You're too busy telling them because they're not screaming at the top of their lungs at you. It's no big deal. But if we do scream at the top of our lungs, we pretend we're bad people. Nobody should have threatened to kill me. Nobody should have threatened to kill my sister. Nobody should have threatened to kill my niece. All these folks wanted to say that they could handle it. I told them what was going on. I told them people would threaten their lives. I told them they would be threatened and harassed and intimidated. Then it might be law enforcement that does it to them as well. Oh no, Sean, I can handle it. I can handle it. Oh yeah, Sean, I've seen it. I've seen them doing this stuff on your YouTube. I've seen them do this on your Facebook. I've seen them do this in these Facebook groups. Well, why aren't you coming forward? Why aren't you speaking up? See, that's the thing about the paperwork that I got. This paperwork directly from the hospital on what I am supposed to do in this situation is exactly what I've been saying I needed for the last 6 years. Nearly word for word. While first responders, right? These guys you want to throw at me. No. Without a friend present, they're going to lock you up. See, here's how it goes. When we're talking about bullying, how about we stop calling it bullying? Because you are downplaying the situation. It is straight up jacked up predatory action.
I'll be right back.
It is intentional maliciousness. And its intent is to drive someone to commit suicide. How many times, even just on the playground with kids, did you hear people screaming and yelling at somebody who's not popular they should just go kill themselves? You say, oh, kids are cruel. No, adults are cruel. Where did these kids learn it? Did they learn it from each other? No, they didn't. They learned it from the adults in their lives. And yeah, some of them picked up them bad habits from the kids at school. The other kids who have parents like that. Now, while you're trying to keep your child under a rock, in a bubble, with manservants and maidservants, so they don't know nothing about the world, and they believe in Shanty Claus and the Keister Bunny and crap like that. Meanwhile, I know 6-year-olds who can field dress an entire deer. I'm willing to bet Clint was probably able to field dress a deer by the time he was 6 to 8 years old. Now, when we come to these theories, these things that you guys want to focus on, some of this stuff, like the idea that if I'm there, it makes Leslie Snell a target of opportunity because she wants to pretend like I'm a bad guy because I told on her. Or have we heard this before? That's right. I'm not a coward for leaving. I just have too much respect for human life. That includes Leslie Snell's. That includes my little sister's. Leslie Snell is a small fry in a big pond. Leslie Snell isn't going to go out and chop my little sister's arms and legs off, cut her head off in front of me. Leslie Snell's not going to drag my sister into a field, stick a shotgun to the back of her head, let loose with both barrels. One of the other theories that does hold water, and only because it's Ted Bollinger and only because it's Boulder, Colorado, and this, well, Denver is the center for human trafficking in the United States. Everything goes through Denver. But the money comes from Boulder. The parties for the high-end traffic, that happens in Boulder. Goes through Boulder, goes through special clubs in Boulder. What, you think Epstein and Maxine were the only brokers? No, everything goes through Denver. All these famous folks got houses in Boulder for a reason. Famous Hollywood stars, a lot of famous senators and governors and the like from all across the nation have homes in Boulder or in the surrounding area. Now this all goes off to the realm of fantasies, unicorns and stuff like that. Kind of like cartels chopping people into little pieces in front of their families. But a fantasy only happens. It doesn't just happen. There was a man I was in jail with in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. He was making runs, making a lot of money doing it. Of course, that comes with a price. He got busted. That's not the messed up part. His family ain't even the messed up part. He shot his best friend in the head right in front of him. I get that the homeless aren't people to you. I get that you think it's okay for you to do drugs in the privacy of your own home.
You doing okay?
Yes, ma'am. Getting ready to leave, though. Hope you don't mind.
Do you want any more coffee?
No, ma'am. If I drink another one, I'll fall asleep right here in the seat. Thank you, though. All right. Anyway, it's nice to have you in. People here are pleasant. All right, there. I got stuck in my seat and moved the whole bench. Now you notice if I keep on moving, every time there's a problem with someone you want me to move, it costs money to do that. How is moving to somewhere else where I'm not going to have a support network going to help? I was going to a bunch of meetings over and over again for months and months and months and months, being told that they're free while I'm paying free ass, while I'm paying with my time. Well, they repeatedly don't show up and tell me it's my fault. I must have chose it. I wanted this. Region 1 did some pretty screwed up stuff. Like, of course, they wanted to ride the clock. Region 1 wanted me to go to meeting after meeting after meeting every single week. Cost me a lot of money. Telling me, oh, well, you know, there's actually no services here, so you need to go to the Front Range of Colorado. But you still have to come back here for these meetings where you drop you from the program and you don't get any help, which I desperately needed because of abuse that I was taking. So I kept jumping through their hoops and going back to their meetings over and over and over again. Yeah, I got to go to the Front Range to get help, but then I got to go back to Region 1 to go to these meetings. Then I got to go back to Colorado to try to jump through hoops there. I got to get Jeff Ritter and Nicole Gerald and Kara Heller, and all of them are going to help me. Nope, they didn't. Natalie got shot in the head. Fuck it. No biggie, right? No biggie. God, you guys are sick and mad. So the idea that Natalie Bollinger might have been murdered because of some shit that her dad did, oh, that is definitely a likely possibility. It's also a likely possibility that Joseph Michael Lopez found a target of opportunity, and with his sick fantasies, unlike me, Joseph Lopez didn't see Natalie Bollinger as a human being worth loving. Ted Bollinger did not see Natalie as a human being worth loving. Both of those men saw Natalie as a target for their sick, twisted fantasies. She just wanted her dad to love her right. I did love her right. I couldn't have given her what she wanted because that isn't loving her right. She did need protected, but not from me. She needed protected from her dad. She needed protected from Tim Beeson. She needed protected from her Uncle Troy. Her ex-boyfriend, Cash. That ain't even his real name. She needed protection from Joey Moreno. Now, Justin Ward, I had hoped that this is her guardian angel. I hope that this guy would have treated her the way that these other men didn't. I don't know Justin Ward. I've never met him. I don't even know him by reputation because he doesn't have one. Nobody cares about Justin Ward. That's one of 3 boyfriends that Natalie had when she died. Yeah, that's right, 3 of them, dummies. Justin Ward got a hold of me to try to threaten my life. Oh, great. What a swell feller. And I'm supposed to be fine with it. I'm supposed to be fine with it. My own friends tell me I should be okay with it. I should just ignore it. No. There are too many people who are
dead because you wanted to ignore it. There are too many people who are dead because the cops wanted to ignore it. There's too many people dead because nobody is going to do their job for a disabled homeless male unless someone else gives a shit. And you have to show you give a shit to the police and to the courts by showing up. Not by lying to the victim over and over and over and over again. Out of all the people that threatened to kill me and my loved ones over Natalie Bollinger, over malicious claims of me doing horrible, horrible things that literally never happened. Oh, they certainly did happen to other people. There's no doubt in my mind that Natalie Bollinger was raped, but she never accused me of that. She accused her dad of that. There are certainly words out of Natalie Bollinger about her Uncle Troy molesting her. But not one word out of her claiming that I ever did such a thing. Not one word out of Alicia Bollinger through all this time ever claiming that I did such a thing. And you get to see the people who target me and the things that they claim. You get to see plainly with the actual evidence, the actual correspondence between Natalie Bollinger and myself, that she outright lied, that she outright sold a false narrative. And the timeline didn't matter. There was no times or dates in any of the stuff that she made. It was all bogus claims, and she didn't have to prove any of it. By law, the police are supposed to notify me when I have a court date. They're supposed to tell me. They didn't inform me a squat. They're also supposed to allow me enough time that I can prepare for court. And if I can't make it, then I have at least enough time to have the paperwork in for that 7 days ahead of time. How can you do that when court is 6 days away? At no point in time were the laws ever actually followed through any bit of this. And the only way that these predators got away with it was by calling me mentally ill, pretending I made it up, and dragging it out until they were allowed to destroy their own body cameras. You idiots. Meanwhile, I'm still living through hell while my predators are paid for victimizing me. Ted Bollinger got paid over $20,000 for victimizing me. Over $20,000 for victimizing me. That's just in GoFundMes. Because see, here's the thing. Him victimizing his daughter, it wasn't just his daughter who had to deal with the consequences. It wasn't just his daughter that he did horrible things to. But you guys wanted to feel sorry for him because his fuck toy died. She was a glorified blow-up doll to that man. Danica Garner and Rose M. Kelly both said that I had more reaction to her death than he did. Well, of course I would. I actually cared about her. Of course, I was the one getting treated like I was a Tim Beeson or a Ted Bollinger or a Troy Bollinger, and it's never stopped. getting treated like I'm a Andrew Witcher or a Michael Allen Albert or a Mark Richmond or a Douglas Cowden. You people are sick. Treating me like I'm a Robert Franklin Warnick or a Wesley Reiner or a Michelle Quinn. Or a Sarah Nelson or a Michelle Decini. You treat me like I'm a Polly Olson. You treat me like I'm a Waylon Lolatai. You treat me like I'm a Cindy Taylor with the Sydney Housing Authority. You pretend that I'm Clearview Behavioral Health. Now go look all those names up. Look them up. Look up Pueblo West woman kills baby. One of them is Jeannie Gatlin, who I stayed with after Natalie was killed, but before they found her killer. And the headline's not just clickbait. Her son starved to death a year to the day after Natalie got her brains blown out. You guys want to pretend that I got millions of dollars, that I fleeced people out of tens of thousands of dollars through GoFundMes. Nope. Those GoFundMes that my predators want to pretend that I scammed a bunch of people for. One of them was started by Candace Bondurant. The other was started by Cara Rogers. And both of them threw them away and threw me away because I told the truth about Candace Bondurant and the situation at her house, and Candace couldn't handle it. And like every other woman in America we taught to do this, she decided to intentionally mislead the situation, intentionally lie to people, intentionally withhold information to try to get people not to listen to me. Well, that sure sounds friendly. Of course, it wouldn't be the first time that Candace Bondurant had pulled something like that. There's people right after Natalie was killed. They're like, hey, there's these people. Why did you stop being friends and block all of these people who are speaking up for you? I said, like who? Well, Candace Bondurant, Jerry Sparks, Lanny Engeline. Well, let's also look at the period of time when I stopped being friends with these people and why. I stopped being friends with Lanny Engeline and Jerry Sparks over things that they did while I was in Virginia. Over racism that they thought was okay. They thought ganging up on me and treating me like crap when I was in a vulnerable position was okay. They thought that it would be okay for a soldier to punch Colin Kaepernick in the throat. And I expressed my belief that, well, equality. If an American soldier is going to punch a civil rights activist in the throat, well, equality dictates what? Come on, folks, use your brilliant deductive reasoning skills. I know some of you might have them. Most of you don't. You want to gang up on me for standing up for black people? Go ahead. I'm going to speak up about your wrongs, whether you want me to or not. You're going to have to accept that. No, you don't have to accept it, do you? You can fume all you want, but you screwed up. You did wrong. You helped the predators to get away. All it takes for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. Is that not a famous quote? Now I'm here without enough money to live on, without enough money to survive on, without enough money to pay my bills, and everything out here is more expensive. You got to buy prepared food. You want a hot meal, you got to go to a homeless feed. You better hope you don't have a job that has you working at 4 o'clock, especially for your first 2 to 3 weeks of work, because you're going to have to feed yourself without a paycheck. And if you're working at 4 o'clock and they're feeding at 4 o'clock, you're not making it to dinner. Then there's the false charges. When you're a homeless person, nobody cares, and they let you know they don't care. They let you know that you don't matter. When you come to them for help, they blow you off. This is far more detrimental to do to a male than it is to do to a female. But you're also far less likely to do this to a female, which is why females are more likely to cut themselves and males are more likely to kill themselves. We don't matter. You want to talk about equality while showing that you are not interested at all in equality. Males have to go to the back of the bus. White people have to go to the back of the bus. Disabled people have to go to the back of the bus. Our problems don't matter. We're the most victimized people in the country. By the police, by the public, by the courts. Our rights are violated more than any others. There are more hate crimes committed against the homeless than all other hate crimes combined in the United States. That includes hate crimes committed against child molesters and rapists. Then again, although it is considered a hate crime to go after a child molester or a rapist, it is not considered a hate crime to do those things to a homeless person. It is not a hate crime for you to target a homeless person, even if they're black, even if they're a woman. The woman part is shaky ground because of the bias, because what we're taught, we're all supposed to protect women, but you get to see the homeless people are not doing that, and neither are you. None of those mandated reporters and none of those homeless people actually cared about Jamie or her well-being. All of them looked the other way. I recorded that man sucker punching Jamie in the back of the head after pursuing her. She was trying to get away from him. I can't walk as fast as she can. So for me, getting away from somebody doing that, no, I have one choice and one choice only. Stand my ground. If there's an ass whooping coming, At least I'll face it head on instead of running away like a bitch. Now, there's a big difference between running away like a bitch and making a strategic withdrawal. Don't be stupid when your family's and friends' lives are at stake. 2 dozen against 1 ain't fair odds. But if it's 2 dozen, 4 dozen, 8 dozen against 1, as long as that 1 is me, you're fucked. Because I'm not going to shut up. You violate my rights, and it gets people killed, I'm going to speak up. If you want to pretend that you're my friend, if you want to call me family, but you ain't doing friend shit, you ain't doing family shit, and it gets people killed, I'll be goddamned if I give a fuck about your opinion. There's evidence to be had. Evidence that'll save lives, but you too busy all up in your own stupidity. Miss Peaches don't want to give up the drug trade. So hey up and blame Macrelius. That's what she's gonna do. She's gonna help my predators. Unfortunately for her and most of the predators that were pulling this stuff, they are already recorded. Just like Natalie Bollinger, before slandering my name, she should have stopped for a moment and thought to herself, maybe I shouldn't have said those things. Perhaps she should have stopped for a moment and thought about all of the things that she had divulged to me, believing that I was just some wallflower who was going to sit in the corner and take the abuse. And then there's all these people wanting to tell me that I'm selfish and that I didn't think of their families. No, I absolutely did think of your families. That's why I spoke up. But unlike your selfish ass, I had to think about a lot of people's families, not just my own. Well, you want to tell me that I'm selfish because I didn't put your family before my own? Keep in mind that I did. I did choose you and your family over my own when I chose to protect you as well. Because I believed you. I believed you were a good person who was going to tell the truth, who was going to keep their word. I knew that my family wasn't going to do squat. And with most of you, I knew you weren't going to do squat either, but I hoped. You gave me just enough hope to keep me from blowing my brains out on live TV. You gave me just enough hope not to slit my throat on a Facebook video. And then you took it all away. By being full of shit. By helping my predators get away. By, instead of telling the truth, unabashedly trying to get after my penis when I have told you repeatedly that I am not a homosexual. I'm not interested in men, and I'm also not interested in women. For Bo to take that as an opportunity to ask me to whack off and send him a video of it is pretty screwed up. for Ariana to repeatedly get drunk and make it a sexual thing. Use that as an excuse to unabashedly, well, do things that I'm not comfortable with. I'm expected to accept it, however. Am I not? If I treated women the way that Ariana and Bo treated me, I would be completely and totally disgusted with myself. But if you notice, with none of these people was it ever about sex. Anytime that Natalie Bollinger wanted to pull that thinking she's in love with me and she's still infatuated with me crap, I tried to talk her out of it. By Natalie's own words, her dad is a sick pervert. By Rose M. Kelly's own words, she was aware, she did know. She let me know that she did not agree with a lot of the other people in the scenario, but she absolutely agreed 100% with the situation with Ted Bollinger. You'd think that this woman would have some humanity in her. You would think that Alicia Bollinger would have some humanity in her. But after 6 years, it's obvious they don't. I just chugged like 5 cups of coffee. I'm pretty tired and I want to go to sleep. But I have to be afraid to go to sleep. Just like I have to be afraid to go into the Denny's and leave my car unattended. You guys live in a fantasy world. I had to think strategically while you guys thought like idiots. While you thought like violent monkeys. Wanting to throw sticks and rocks at each other. How about you primates pull yourselves out of the Stone Age and realize that, yeah, turning in evidence, going in with the victim. That's what's important. If you're doing anything other than that, you do not get to pretend that you tried to help, because you didn't. If you didn't speak up in public and speak up in court, if you made no efforts to turn these things into the police and keep record, if you are expecting me to just take your word for it, when you are making zero effort to come forward in court about it, what is this, a consolation prize? Sure, you'll tell me. But you won't tell the people who are being predatory towards me, because you never came forward. And because you never came forward, this false narrative continues. Now I want you guys to show me one woman, even one woman, my entire life, who can show you evidence of the things that I have had to deal with from Bo and from Ariana for trying to get help. The unabashed sexual crap. How about we skip the sex part and do something about the abuse? How about you stop hitting on me long enough to be a friend? Or were you just pretending to be my friend because you wanted to watch me whack off on video? When I'm asking for your help, stopping abuse that I'm going through, the last thing that I need out of you is you trying to get laid. I'm not going to put out. No matter how many times you keep pushing it. I said no. 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 What's it going to take for you to come forward and tell the truth? Obviously, all you're interested in doing is getting drunk, doing drugs, and, well, obviously, trying to get some penis. So if I put out, would you actually tell the truth? Is that what you expect out of me? Is this the representation of the LGBT community that we really want? Two grown men who are going to complain about how much their life sucks, going to complain about people thinking of them and treating them like sexual objects. But then they want to treat me like I'm a sexual object. I asked for their help. I asked for them to tell the truth about what they knew. I never asked any of them if I could suck their dick. I never asked any of them if they wanted me to masturbate in front of them or send them a video of me doing that. I can't even go to the LGBT community. No matter how much I fought for these people and fought for their rights as human beings, I am a target of things that are highly inappropriate from a community that I fought hard for so that they could have the same rights as me. Oh, wait, I don't have those rights. I don't have those rights. Black people have those rights because I helped fight for them. The LGBT community has those rights because I helped fight for them. Women have those rights because I helped fight for them. But when people from the LGBT community, the black community, or the female community do those things to me, you think it's okay. There's a lot of women who, after I helped them, tried to put out. That's supposed to be some sort of an accepted payment. And with guys like Ariana and guys like Bo, you can see plainly and simply that just because they're LGBT or T does not mean that they're perfect and doesn't mean that they're not predatory. You don't think men have to deal with this stuff too? While you try to play down our abuse. Like we're better equipped to handle it. No, we're not. We're not better equipped to handle being raped. We're not better equipped to handle our friends having their heads blown off. Yeah, I do have to give some credit to some of these conspiracy theories. I absolutely do, and I have to make my decisions based on the validity of these things. What are the chances of Leslie Snell getting murdered if I'm not in Chapel, Nebraska. They're a lot better. Her chances of living are far greater if I'm not in Chapel, Nebraska. Because anybody could decide, well, if I go after Leslie Snell, they'll blame Sean. It's not so easy to blame me now that I'm in Oregon, is it, Leslie? It's not so easy to blame me now that I'm in Oregon, is it, Mandy Hughes? It's not so easy to blame me now that I'm in Oregon, is it, Danica Garner? Or Rose M. Kelly? It's not as easy when I'm nowhere near you, is it? You sick, twisted, perverted, nasty, disgusting, perverted. How many times can I say perverted? I'm going to have to really impress upon you the fact that, well, having sex with your own kids is pretty perverted. Helping your husband or your ex-husband and his brother get away with raping your kids, that's worse than perverted. My God, I'm surprised Rose M. Kelly hasn't blown her head off. Although it is something that we could possibly expect in the future. If she's heartless, yeah, she's not gonna. But if she actually has a conscience, between telling the truth and blowing her head off, she's more likely to have someone blow her head off. Yeah, her conscience hurts, but so's her pride. Death prevents her pride from being hurt, don't it? Natalie Bollinger thought if she killed herself, nobody would listen. That it would finally make her predators like Rose M. Kelly, Alicia Bollinger, Tim Beeson, Ted Bollinger, Troy Bollinger. Maybe if she killed herself, maybe nobody would listen to me about the horrible things that they did. Maybe they would love her in death for protecting them, despite the horrible things that they did to her. I begged people to kill me for a whole year before Natalie got her brains blown out. I even asked Maddie Boa. I'm not worried about Leslie Snell harming my little sister in any way other than by abusing her power legally. I do have to worry about Scott DaCosta. I do have to worry about his deputies, especially after Joe Newman's daughter's house was lit on fire. "48 cats were killed in that fire." Joe Newman's daughter is lucky that she wasn't killed. You guys should pay better attention. You know, you want to keep calling me mentally ill and not looking this stuff up. You want to keep getting on here and harassing me and threatening me. You keep on wanting to give me bad advice. And you keep on expecting me to shut up. When in the history of ever have I ever? Good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper, and no victim left behind.